Okay guys, so reviewing the 2020 Tesla Model 3 Performance. Let's see how this handles on the road. So we have this in its normal mode. We have not changed the steering, which you can, to a dynamic steering or a track steering. The car has 458 horsepower, at least 458 equivalent horsepower. Remember, we have an all-electric drivetrain or an all-electric motor here. The car has that at zero torque, so the takeoff and launch is pretty substantial. You get an instant feedback the moment you hit the accelerator. It is a little bit of an odd feeling driving this car. You have a one pedal driving experience. You really don't need to use the brake at all. The regen on the car slows the car down pretty dramatically. Now you can reduce this in the menu here on the screen and take it down so that the car rolls itself out or it does somewhere in the middle. We have it at its standard setting, and it's a very peculiar feeling having the car slow down that hard without using the brake. The car gets about 310 miles of range according to Tesla. Now they do recommend that you only charge it somewhere in the percentage range of 80 to 90%. So you're really not looking at 310 miles of range on your normal daily use. Now they say that when you go out for a trip, go ahead and charge the car to 100%, in which case you will receive that 310 mile range. I'm not sure how accurate that is. We've all heard the stories that you got to drive pretty conservatively to get those numbers, and I don't drive that conservatively, and if I did, I probably would not have purchased the Performance Edition of this vehicle. So we will see what that average is out to be. Now I've had the car for about a week now, and I can say that I'm actually pretty close considering how hard I drive. The curb weight on the car is just over 2 tons, so it is a very heavy vehicle, and you can feel that when you turn. It's not quite as floaty as, say, the Model S or the Model X is. Those tend to float a little bit more, having air suspension. This is on your more traditional springs, so you definitely know you're carrying around some weight. When you turn these corners, you're getting some substantial lean. Now, with that said, Tesla's done a great job. Steering in the car has a good weight to it. You can feel it. I mean, you definitely can tell that there's a little computer in the background making minor adjustments as you drive. It is not as precise as some of your exotics or other sports cars out there, but Tesla's done a pretty good job with this steering. You can definitely get around corners here. But what is most impressive is that torque, and that'll put a smile on anybody's face. Brakes on this car are solid. They definitely hold and grip. They need to be. This car weighs a tremendous amount, and so those brakes definitely needed to slow this car down, especially with the numbers and performance figures they can put out there. Tesla has improved the brakes on this over the base model and dual motor system. Again, this car corners great. You can definitely feel it. It feels a little bit like a video game when you're steering, but it is definitely planted in a very fun car to get out in these corners. I could get used to this one pedal driving experience as well. You know, you're not really slamming on the brakes. In a typical car, you're either on the throttle or you're on the brake. In this car, you can go from throttle to nothing. You don't have to go to the brake. You can allow that regen to take over and really slow you down as you get into these corners. It makes the driving experience different, but quite fun at the same time. Now this road is pretty windy, and that suspension is really holding up. You know, I honestly had some doubts with the weight of this vehicle. We'll make this turn here and see if we can't put the pedal down and see how this goes. Oh yeah, that's it's not something you get does not get old. You're definitely going to enjoy that for the life of this car. I would imagine if you punch it all the time, you're going to see some very limited battery life and have to charge every night. But man, oh man, is it fun driving this car. I've always had a take on electric cars that it wasn't for the performance folks. It was Prius owners that evolved over time and want to save the planet and do those kind of things, and you are. But man, has the performance ticked up a notch in this car. This is every bit a performance car. This was engineered to be driven. There's a misconception out there that Tesla engineered their vehicles to be driven by autopilot, to drive you versus you driving them. You can tell Tesla has changed the performance, the handling, the overall feel of this car specifically. They want this car to be driven. This car is for a driver, definitely not meant for you to be driven by it. Now this car does have autopilot. Now autopilot is only available on the freeway at the current moment. But what that means basically is once you get on the freeway, you can turn autopilot on, and as long as you have a destination in your navigation, the car will take the freeway from on-ramp to off-ramp and limit your input as you drive. Now you do have to touch the steering wheel every once in a while just to let the car know that you are in fact paying attention and not falling asleep while you drive. But other than that, the car will do everything in its power to get you there. It will speed up, slow down, switch lanes even, if necessary, to get you to your destination. But again, this car seems to me like Tesla has turned that corner and really engineered this car to be driven. It is not a car that is intended for you to sit back and coast. Now, this being an all-wheel drive car, you could theoretically take it through the snow. I would not recommend this specific tire and wheel setup for that. But again, the weight of this car would definitely help you in winter conditions. Now, we are not in winter conditions here, and we are having a pretty good time in this twisty road we're currently on. One thing I do wish this car had, and it goes back to that steering. You do feel that the computer is in the background making micro adjustments as you're taking these corners. And I do wish there was a little bit more road. You had a little bit more feedback to this wheel. The steering is precise. There's just missing that little piece that makes me feel like I'm connected to the road like you would in some of your other sports cars or high-end exotics. Tesla's done a great job of giving you that feel, but it is lacking still a little bit. But it sure is made up for it when you push the accelerator. Man, does this car move. Once we make a turn here at this stop sign, we'll get on that accelerator again and see if we can't get some good times. And that's pretty great. Now this car is pretty silent, as you can possibly hear. I don't know if it's coming across in camera. There is a slight engine whine when you push it hard. There's not a lot of rattles or shakes in the car. Everything seems to be built pretty good. Now I know Tesla's taken their lumps in regards to build quality and fit and finish, but this car is pretty good. I did go over the car with a fine-tooth comb when I took delivery of it. There were a couple of things, but Tesla's been great about fixing those, and in fact they have a guy coming out next week to fix one minor final issue. But there aren't a lot of noises in the cabin. Everything seems to be built pretty darn good in here. You do surprisingly hear more road noise. You know, I think the drone of the engine tends to take our ears out of the equation when it comes to that road noise. But in this one, because the engines aren't delivering that constant drone, that constant rumble, you really do hear the road more. You hear the wind over the body of the car and those wheels on the ground or pavement. Now, I would say if you change this wheel and tire package to a smaller one, you probably will get a little bit less noise. But, you know, all in all, it's not a bad driving experience whatsoever as far as the noise is concerned. The cabin, as you can see, is very minimalistic. You're not looking at a lot on the dash here. It is an odd driving experience without the instrument cluster in front of you. There's nothing to obstruct your view as far as an instrument gauge. It's just the wheel and the front of the car. Great feel, but if you like the buttons and gadgets of a traditional car, you'll be missing that in this car, as it is just this center screen and nothing else. The seats are adequately bolstered. They feel fine. I don't feel like I'm shimmying around. They aren't your Italian sports car or German sports car where they're hugging me and keeping me in place and I can't move. But they do feel like they're there, and I'm not sliding all over the place in this chair as it takes me to this corner. Again, the interior is great. The seating position in this is a bit odd. I think because the battery bank is below, the chairs feel to lean you back a little bit more. Now you can obviously adjust that as you can in any other vehicle, but you do feel like you're sunken in and at a little bit more of an angle. You really feel that in the back seat, where you can't actually put your lower thigh on the seat because the floor is so raised. Interior quality, I think it's fine. Tesla brands this as a vegan interior, so we're not sitting on actual leather. This is a faux leather. But you know, there's the soft feel pretty much everywhere. There is a high gloss black finish to the interior section here. I really think that's going to be a giant fingerprint magnet. If you're a bit OCD like me, something you'll have to deal with on a daily basis is wiping off those fingerprints. One thing you'll find in here is there's plenty of storage. You've got cubbies in each one of the doors. You've got a sizable glove box there. And without a drivetrain or transmission, you really have some deep pockets in here. You can get down in here and pretty much store anything you want. This goes all the way down to the floor. USB ports, there are 2 up in front and 2 in the rear. Now, one thing this car doesn't come with, which somewhat baffles me, is there is not a wireless charger in this car. All the technology in this car, you can find a wireless charger in your Kia, but you can't find a wireless charger in a $60,000 Tesla. Oh man, there's that performance again. Thank you to that Jeep for getting out of our way. The car has a giant glass roof, which is fantastic for your passengers, not so fantastic for you as the driver. The A-pillar does come pretty far back, and so you have this portion here without the glass that you can't see. Obviously in your Model X, this is all glass from front to back, so as the driver you get to enjoy it. But here in the Model 3, unfortunately, your passengers get to enjoy that. Now the glass roof is tinted. Tesla has a special film on it that is supposed to help with UV protection as well as any heat. So even though it's all glass, the interior of the car is safe for you to hang out in and not worry about burning you or your passengers. This white leather interior here is actually an upgrade to the car. Now, being white, obviously I'm sure your mind goes to the dirt that this must collect and the stains that you must have. But Tesla guarantees this to not have a stain. In fact, if you get one on here that you can't remove simply by wiping it off, Tesla will replace your interior. One thing to note in the interior, you know, it seems as though every car manufacturer at the moment is attempting to one-up each other in the world of doors, specifically door handles. Porsche has actually gone as far as removing door handles in a lot of their vehicles now and just giving you a little strap of material. In this car, however, they have a special little button. So in order to open the door, you simply push the button and then use your forearm and elbow to push the car out. Now, obviously, at an electric car and an electric button, if the battery's dead, they don't want to trap you in the vehicle. So each one also has a manual lever here. One interesting aspect of the car is the windows. Each time you open the doors, the windows come down a little bit and go up a little bit when you close them. Now, the windows in the rear, however, don't go down all the way. They go to about 80% and then stop. So your rear passengers won't have the benefit of being able to lay their arm out with their window down, as they'll have that little piece of glass sticking up. Cargo room in this car, again, is excellent. Not just storage interior, but because the car doesn't have a traditional engine, you have that frunk in the front, as well as a traditional trunk in the back. Now the trunk isn't huge, not gonna blow you away, but you should have ample storage in this car for a family of 4 or a family of 5. Well, there you guys have it, driving the Model 3 Performance. Thanks for joining me. If you like this video, smash that thumbs up at the bottom, subscribe if you're not already, and hit the little bell icon next to subscribe so you're notified the next time I upload a video. Otherwise, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.